Tika minister wa urimi kana girigasha then thutha ucio ni gukorwo na mundu ogwitwo Eliud Owalo aredwo atike minister wa ICT na gukorwo nake agithurimwo muthenya wa muthi. Ezekiel Machogu nake arendekithio atike minister wa githomo onake ni gukorwo agithurimwo o muthenya wa muthi, na mundu ucio ngi Ababu na Mwamba nake arendwo atike minister wa maundu ma andu ethi na mathako. Koguo acio othe no mekorwo makithurimo muthenya wa umuthi. Ucio ngi ni mundu gitwara Rebecca Miano nake ni gukorwo agithurimo muthenya wa umuthi, na riu ndira gutwara ginya bunge-ini ya bururi kuria kamiti no ya igie uhoro wa appointment kana uhoro wigie mawira ma thirikari ni era muthurima kwa ihinda riri mundu gwitwo Franklin Mithika Linturi dirikana rari senator wa kuria kwitwo Meru na arendekithia tuike minister wa urimi. Reke tuigue rekora thina mbere kuria bunge-ini ya bururi.
And there's a fifth one.
Rebecca Miano.
And the owner, Miss Rebecca Miano, who has a booklet of a CV before you. So I would want to call the sergeant to check if the Honorable Linturi is present. We are slightly ahead of time. We probably can we start?
Yes.
If he is present, bring him in. Good morning. You are the Honorable Franklin Mithika Linturi. Please take the seat. The clerk can proceed to administer the oath. The Honorable Linturi, you have a choice depending on your faith to take the Quran, the Bible, or affirm. Speak unanswered.
I'll take the Bible.
Go ahead. You may stand.
I, Franklin Mithika Linturi, do hereby swear to testify on all matters in question and tell this committee the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth. So help me God.
The Honorable Mithika Linturi, welcome to this committee. Most of these members are your colleagues you have worked and served with in Parliament. But that notwithstanding, they will engage you robustly on the suitability or otherwise of you as a nominee to the docket of the Cabinet Secretary for Agriculture. Before we engage any further, we want to introduce the committee. It's a committee of Parliament, as you know, grounded and founded in the standing orders, in the law and in the Constitution, that places a responsibility on Parliament to conduct confirmation hearings or vetting of persons nominated by the President to hold the position of Cabinet Secretary in our Republic. You've been given the privilege of that nomination, and you have to go through this process. The committee is chaired by the Speaker of the National Assembly, yours truly here, and I'll invite members to introduce themselves, starting with the Deputy Speaker.
I am Gladys Boss, member for Uasin Gishu County, and also Deputy Speaker of the National Assembly, Karibu.
Wandai.
My name is Opio Wandai, MP Ugunja.
My name is Owen Bayer, MP for Kilifi North.
Yeah, my name is Robert Mbui, MP for Kadhiani.
My name is Rehab Mukami, County MP Nyeri.
My name is Ferdinand Kevin Wanyonyi, Member of Parliament, Kwanza, Trans Nzoia County.
Good morning. My name is George Gitonga Murugara, Member of Parliament for Tharaka Constituency, Tharaka Nithi County. The nominee is actually my neighbor. He's also my friend. But that is not going to affect my impartiality in any way, and I will do a job for the country.
David Kosing, my name, MP Pokot South, West Pokot County.
Speaker, my name is Abdul Rahim Dawood, MP for North Imenti, Meru County, and I want to declare interest that the nominee is a friend of mine for more than 25 years, as well as being the immediate former senator for Meru and a colleague as my chairman of Meru Parliamentary Group as until last year. Thank you, Chair.
Honorable Mishi Mboko, MP Likoni, a member of this committee.
Good morning, Nelson Arap Koech, MP Belgut.
Good morning, everyone. Caleb Amisi, MP Saboti.
Dido Raso, MP Saku.
Abdi Shurie, MP Balambala, Garissa County.
Stephen Mule, MP Matungulu.
Naisula Lesuda, MP Samburu West.
We also have our secretariat headed by our clerk.
Thank you, Honorable Chairman. My name is Sarah Kioko. I am the acting clerk of the National Assembly. And I have with me the director in charge of audit, appropriation, and other select committees, Ms. Florence Abonyo, and the deputy director, legal services, Mr. Michael Karuru, and quite a number of other staff who are assisting this committee. Thank you, Chairman.
Thank you. So the Honorable Linturi, this being a recently qualified lawyer, you know about adversarial proceedings and non-adversarial proceedings. These proceedings are not adversarial. We are on a facts-finding mission on your suitability to hold the office to which you have been nominated, like we have done to all your other colleague nominees. We expect absolute respect, decorum, and candor in the manner in which we relate in this inquiry. We expect that you answer every question put to you through the chair, and all members have done very well and advise that all questions are also through the chair. So we limit completely any exchanges between the nominee and the members of the committee. We will also, for a start, after a few preliminaries, give you 10 minutes or less to tell us the story of your life. Who is Mithika Linturi? Franklin. Your journey to where you are seated. At the end of the proceedings, we'll give you also an opportunity for 3 minutes to tell us your closing wish. Having listened to you, you have the capacity to assess how you have performed, what you want us to do with you in this regard. Now, before we start, I'll ask you a few documentations that we require. I have been told by the clerk that certain affidavits sent in by members of the public were forwarded to you to look at and respond. You did not choose to depone in any rebuttal, but you are at liberty to give answers to any questions that may be asked in relation to those affidavits. The election to depone or not to depone is entirely yours, but the committee will not prevent you from saying anything in relation to those affidavits, in rebuttal or in affirmation of the contents therein. Do you have your tax compliance certificate from KRA?
Yes, I do.
You've already forwarded to us?
Yes.
Yes, the clerks will want to see the originals to compare with what you have sent to us after we have run through the list. Do you have the clearance from the Higher Education Loans Board?
Yes, I do.
Do you have clearance with the Ethics and Anti-Corruption Commission, ASCC?
Yes, I do.
Do you have a certificate of good conduct?
Yes, I do.
From DCI?
Yes, I do.
From Mr. Kinoti?
Yes, I do. Of course, after his departure, I got the clearance.
It's with a light touch. I know you had running battles with Kinoti. Have you ever been charged and convicted of a criminal offense in any court of law?
I have been charged, but never convicted.
Have you ever been adversely mentioned in any parliamentary committee report?
No.
Are you a dual citizen of Kenya and any other sovereign?
No.
You have your identity card as well. You'll show the original to compare with what you sent to us. At a personal level, what is your financial net worth? Some of your finances have been in public domain.
Mr. Chairman, my financial net worth, which includes my investments in various companies in this country and other investments in circles, are to the tune of around 1.2 billion.
1.2 billion.
Yes.
Segregation or tabulation?
Mr. Speaker, sorry, Mr. Chairman.
You can use them interchangeably. Yes.
Yeah, I have listed a list of the immovable assets that I own in a page in the statement of net worth that includes properties that are developed. I've also put in a list of all the vehicles that are available for my personal use. And I've also put in the amounts of shares that I owned in various constitutions, one including the parliamentary circle, which I am a member. Mr. Speaker, I've also listed in directorship of in different companies where I am one of the largest shareholders, which is also on page 16. So paragraph 16 from the questionnaire, and all these total to the tune of around 1.2 billion.
Good. What are your current and anticipated sources of income?
My current incomes is the money that I get out of rental income, out of business that I do, like I am a dairy farmer. I keep cows and goats. I do sukuma wiki. And Mr. Speaker, the amount of money that I think I am expecting that to get probably in the near future is beyond 1 billion. Mr. Speaker, I have court awards that have been taxed and not been paid. And one that I'm trying to deal with is the EACC, who owes me money for wrongful prosecution. The other, Mr. Speaker, is government for failure to pay for works done. That is all what constitutes to beyond 1 billion shillings.
I will now invite you, Honorable Mithika Linturi, for under 10 minutes to tell us the story of your life.
Before I proceed, Mr. Chairman, if you may allow me, let me clarify that I only got one affidavit from the clerk and not two. I am willing and ready to answer to that question so that I don't get ambushed on something that was not presented to me. I only got one from Transparency International.
Go ahead. I also clarify the clerk had mentioned affidavits, but now she says that is the only affidavit that was received. the one from Transparency International. You may proceed.
Mr. Speaker.
Does the clerk want something from you?
Yeah, but there's a document I want to refer you to so that when it comes around, probably you may be able to guide me on how to proceed on these particular questions, which I'm supposed to give satisfactory answers to.
Proceed.
Mr. Speaker, having been a member of Parliament and having understood our practice, I want you to guide me on how I need to proceed in answering questions where I may end up discussing matters that are before courts for determination. And Mr. Speaker, when I see, and I'm so happy, but regret at the same time because of that sub judice rule, probably I may not be able to explain to this country properly who Mithika Linturi is. I want to bring to your attention and to tell the country.
Honorable Mithika Linturi, you are not at liberty to anticipate any questions. You'll only answer questions that will be asked to you by the members. What I've invited you to do, and I'm sure you've been watching some of the proceedings from your colleagues, is who is Mithika Linturi? I was born here, I grew up here, I went to school here, I have done this in my life, I've encountered some obstacles, I have surmounted them or not, and I have been given the privilege to be what I am today. Something like that.
I'm guided.
So don't anticipate any questions. The questions will be asked by these members to you. And when they're asked, you are not entitled also to frame your own questions and answer them. You'll answer the questions that will be asked only.
Okay. Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Accordingly guided.
Yes.
And I think, Mr. Speaker, my life began back in the late 1969, because that is when I was born, in a village called Iriaki in Igembe South constituency, formerly known Igembe North, Igembe district. Mr. Speaker, I was born from a very humble family, and what I remember most is when I was growing up and hunting cows or goats in a forest called Ndune near my home, when I was arrested by the chief in around 1978 to take me to school. The last time, Mr. Speaker, the test that was used to check anybody that had grown of age to get to school was to lift your hand on top of your hand and see whether you would be able to touch the other side of your ear. That's when I went to Amwamba Primary School, and for around 8 years, I went to, again, Mr. Speaker, to Igembe Secondary School. And the other thing that also makes me remember my first day in school, Mr. Speaker, and because of that I'm beginning, is when we were admitted and we were required to carry shoes and other items that we would use in school. Was that I went to school, my shoes in the box, and carrying the box on my hand to school, and everybody was laughing at me because they couldn't understand why I had not put on the shoes and had to carry the shoes in the box. Thereafter, I stayed there, Mr. Speaker, and after Form 4, I also went to Meru Technical School, and Mr. Speaker, thereafter, after finishing Meru Technical School, my father thought then I should have stayed at home to assist him in his coffee farm, because I'm from a family of 8, and then he required to spend some of his little earnings to educate my brothers and sisters. I became difficult after attending to my father's tea farm and coffee for some time, and then decided to rebel and go to look for something else to do, and that's how I left that home with only 30 shillings, without any clothes in a bag, without knowing where I would sleep. And my hustling life started from there. I made friends with many that I remember would be my role models. And during the course of life, I got interested in doing business here and there, and that's when I started business. I first of all got very interested in pursuing insurance, and I was the founder member of Access Insurance. Mr. Speaker, as I was doing business, I met very many people who inspired me in different ways, and some of the people I met and actually who inspired me to think about the politics and public service were the likes of the late Kennedy Matiba, Kina Muite, Raila Odinga, and even the late Kina Njiramogi. The late Kabando Wafula Mbuke and I were the first young boys, and Antai Wankuraru, who we were there, and the boys of the Safina party, and the late the late Liki was the Secretary General. The first time I got charged in court, Mr. Speaker, was around that time, the year 2002, when I was alleged to have, and Mporo Abori, who is also my friend, we are very close, and we were charged with the offense that time. I think the charge was defective of trying, because we had learned prayers, and it was construed that we were praying for the death of the president then. So we were charged for incitement. The matters went to court. We were lucky that we couldn't afford a legal fees to pay lawyers, and I thank Muturi Kegano and Muite, because these are the people that came to our rescue. We were acquitted. That is when I realized how important it was to have good friends. From there, Mr. Speaker, when we got interested.
Finish up in 2 minutes. You've already done your 10.
I got interested in running for a parliamentary position, and I first of all ran under Safina ticket. I lost. The next election, I ran on Found People. I lost. And then in the year 2007, I ran on a Kano ticket. and I was elected as a member of Parliament for Igembe South, and from that time I have been a member of Parliament for 3 terms consecutively until last election, when I decided to run as governor for Meru and lost to the current governor. And Mr. Speaker, thereafter, in the wisdom of the current president, who I thank, decided to nominate me as candidate, as nominee for the position of CS Agriculture. And Mr. Speaker, that's why I'm here before this honorable committee, ready to answer any question that may arise.
Excellent. Thank you, Honorable Linturi. We'll now open the floor to members to ask you questions. We advise that we'll take them in batches of 4, and then you can answer them, and we go to another batch of 4. We allow members to seek clarifications where you are not clear. And even those who have asked when there's something burning, we give them an opportunity for a second bite. I'll start with the Deputy Speaker.
Good morning and congratulations, Honorable Linturi, on your nomination as Cabinet Secretary for Agriculture and Livestock Development. As you know, that is a docket that is the people of Western Gishu County are immensely interested. As you know, agriculture is the largest sector of the Kenyan economy and the first pillar of the Kenya Kwanza manifesto. I'm sure you also know that agriculture has the highest employment multiplier effect. And this is a question that was asked of me to ask you by my 25-year-old son, who is a farmer. He says the average age of the farmers in Kenya is 65, yet the highest unemployed people are the young people. So the question is, what are your plans to ensure that farming becomes profitable and that the farmers are assured of predictable income so that you can capture these young people who are unemployed? The other question is, how do you plan to assist the creation of jobs within the agriculture sector to address the high level of unemployment in the country which afflicts the youth? Thank you.
The Honorable Majority Leader, Ichungwa.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. For the record, my name is Kimani Ichungwa, MP Kikuyu. Honorable Linturi, as the Deputy Speaker has indicated, and I'm sure you're aware that agriculture forms one of the core pillars. It's actually the first pillar in the Kenya Kwanza manifesto. And you're aware, I'm sure you know that it is one of the sectors that has the highest employment multiplier effect, and probably that's why the Honorable Shole is asking what plans you have to ensure that agriculture becomes profitable and creates jobs for millions of Kenyans who have no jobs. But also, I would want to hear what are your plans, if approved as Minister for Agriculture, to dismantle the monopolistic cartels that have made agriculture not profitable to the majority of farmers, and especially in the dairy sector. I would want to hear what plans you have to make sure that you dismantle those monopolistic cartels to make sure that our dairy farmers are able to earn a decent living out of their agricultural endeavors. To Honorable Linturi, you have said you were arrested by a chief at a very young age to be taken to school. And as fate would be, up to very recently, we've seen you being arrested. And I heard you also arrested during the Kanu days and charged with incitement to violence. Maybe Mr. Speaker would need to declare interest, because Honorable Linturi, we have worked together in UDA and in the campaigns. And I may be privy to information that contributed to his arrest. I don't know whether Honorable Linturi, you would find it proper, because there is already the affidavit that has been filed by Transparency International that touches on a very serious crime. And I do know the circumstances, because you had shared with me and a group of us prior to your arrest the circumstances around the issues that have been raised there. Maybe it would be only proper that you share that information with the committee on the circumstances that led to your arrest, whether you are the villain or the victim, and clarify that issue. To Honorable Linturi, I see that you have attached a degree.
Point of order, Chair.
Yes.
Chair. We are also listening very keenly to the majority leader's questions, but he's not coming out clearly. We would also like to get the benefit of what exactly he's asking. So when you're talking about a situation, maybe you can give us which situation, because the nominee has been arrested severally, not once or twice.
So, which arrest are you referring to, the Honorable Chungwa? The first one was really not an arrest by the chief. The chief abducted him and took him to school. I think it's just a question of using the wrong language. He was captured by the chief while looking after cattle and taken to school. Isn't that so? That's what you meant?
Yes.
Yes. But the rest are arrests by different agencies.
I think definitely, Honorable Speaker, the Honorable Mbuyu should be aware, of course, that the first one, I think, it is his description of arrest, and he has explained the second one. And the Honorable Speaker also did indicate that the Honorable Linturi has had some run-ins with DCI Kinoti. And that is the incident that I'm referring to, because he did share with me, or a group of us, at the time we were being tormented by the former regime. In fact, Honorable Speaker, is that just that we were sharing information that had come to our attention, that a number of us were targeted for arrests and kidnappings and those sort of things. And the Honorable Linturi happened to share with us an incident that had happened to him, and that was long before his arrest, and that's why I'm asking, because it's information that he knows, and that's what I was asking. Maybe it would help in the issue that has been petitioned on by Transparency International. Lastly, Honorable Linturi, you have attached a degree from the University of Nairobi for a Bachelor of Laws that you graduated in December, 21st day of December in the year 2018. And I also know that at the time, I think you indicated you wanted to run for governor. The same DCI Kinoti had attempted to either investigate or charge you on some degree certificate that he said was fake. Could it be this degree certificate that you have put here in the file? Maybe you can also clarify whether this is a degree that was under investigations by DCI Kinoti. Thank you.
One day.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Honorable Linturi and I served in the 11th Parliament in the National Assembly, so we know each other. Mr. Honorable Linturi, you know, as public officers, indeed as state officers, your life becomes a matter of public interest. And I will pick it up from where the Honorable Nchungwa has left. Because I've looked at your CV, which is in the file, and it shows that you clearly have only one degree, which is Bachelor of Laws, second-class honors, upper division attained in 2018 from the University of Nairobi. And yet again, it is in public domain. As a public officer, you know, we're under scrutiny. That at some point you had an issue with the University of Nairobi concerning some degree. Indeed, the university went ahead to, I think, they register you or strike your name out of the roll of graduates on account of some forgeries or alleged forgeries. In fact, the matter was taken up by the EACC. I don't know what became of the investigations. So, just to be clear, so that this can be rested once and for all. Do you have only one degree from the University of Nairobi, which is a Bachelor of Law? Did you present some other degree to the University of Nairobi for admission to this course? Did you ever get a Bachelor of Commerce degree from an Indian university? These were subjects of speculation at the time of the investigations. 2 is that on the 28th of April, 2021, you were arrested by the DCI. 28th April 2021, or thereabout. You were arrested by the DCI for allegedly using forged signatures to secure some Kenya shillings 530 million loan. What became of this matter? Because I never heard of it again thereafter. Then, when the then, or the current, if it may be true, CS for Interior, Dr. Fred Matiang'i, when he appeared before a Senate committee, if I may recall, he made some very disturbing allegations against you, which again is in public domain. That as director of Articon Limited, alongside one Emily Wantai, you forged company documents to facilitate the borrowing of another Kenya's personal loan of Kenya shillings 100 million without the consent of another shareholder or co-shareholder going by the name Kipchumba Ngetich, who was subsequently again fired from the company for refusing to play ball. Those are the words of Dr. Matiang'i. I'm just paraphrasing him. You may want to shed some light on this, even as you seek to be approved to occupy this very high office. Finally, and the Honorable Chungu has touched on it, the affidavit by one Sheila Masindi, who is the Executive Director of Transparency International, drawn on the 14th of October 2022. It is also again raising very disturbing issues. One, she of course alleges that you were arrested and charged with the offense of attempted rape on the 30th of January 2021. She goes ahead to say that the matter was eventually dropped. Okay? But the charge raised, those are her words, the charge raised serious issues on your integrity. Kindly comment, make a comment on the same. Thanks.
I think those are sufficiently weighty, quite a mouthful. I would allow you to answer those 3 before we take some more. Starting with the Deputy Speaker, but you can choose to start from the tail end or the top.
Let me, Mr. Speaker, start from the bottom up. So I'll start by answering Mheshimiwa Wandai. And Mr. Speaker, when in my opening remarks, there is an issue that and raised on sub judice, and I will do my best to answer so that I do not touch on the issues that are before court for determination. Mr. Speaker, I don't know whether this document is with you, and I want to answer the issue, the matter on the affidavit of Mberu on the withdrawal or the issue of the attempted rape that he's talking about. And that is indeed the issue that Mheshimiwa Ichung'wa was trying or sharing, because even before this happened, and shared with my very close friends. Mr. Speaker, I'm an open book. In fact, those that write and say I've litany of cases is an understatement. As I sit here, I have 35 cases in court as I am sitting here. 35. And these 35...
Of a civil nature or criminal nature?
They are civil, Mr. Speaker. I have no criminal case in any court in this country. And I'm saying the only criminal case that I had in court is a case between the Republic and I, where the complainant was buried. And it's, I think, since everybody knows the kind of band relationship that I had with the NDCI, and my political persuasion that, or the political position I'd taken in the last general election, or since the handshake, Mr. Speaker, I was the complainant. I was the complainant in this case because this was a case of abduction, Mr. Speaker. And it's a case where people wanted to extort money from me, and I will share the affidavit by Mberu herself, where she's saying that she has reconciled her conscience and she has reflected on the facts and the circumstances relating to this complaint, and she has decided on her own volition to withdraw. Mr. Speaker, the DCI himself decided that Mithika must be turned into a victim. It is just last week when the DCI officers came to my office and even brought me the cash bill and the money that they had recovered from the abductors, because immediately I was abducted and I was released after giving 200,000 shillings and they were asking for 1 million shillings. I reported the matter at Nanyuki DCI offices. The record is there, Mr. Speaker. And I remember I was with you. I don't know whether I shared, Mr. Speaker, when we were there. In Diani, Mr. Speaker, when we were at the Senate committee in Diani in last year, but one, where I was asking whether I would get permission to go to Nanyuki to record a statement to this effect so that these abductors would have been taken to court. But
I missed the Diani meeting.
2 years ago, Mr. Speaker, the Committee of National Security, we had a meeting in Diani. That is the time.
The committee with you, but
yes.
I was not in Diani.
Yeah?
I was a member of the committee with you, I agree, but I was not in Diani.
Yeah, that's where we were. I'm saying the time we were in Diani as a committee. Yes, okay. I was sharing it with the committee, our chairman.
Yes.
So this is the time when I was required in Nanyuki to do a statement for them to appear before court. Because I was traumatized, immediately they were arrested. And since I didn't make, it is the DCI himself who ordered the farm be transferred from Nanyuki to Nairobi, instructed the DCI then Mr. Muridi. And when this matter came here, other officers were picked, were asked to do different statements. My statements were torn, and they fixed me, framed me as a victim, and that's how I ended up in court. This affidavit from Mberu and Onduor, when she decided to withdraw, has given a condition. And because he was cross-examined by the magistrate, and I've put the ruling from the magistrate here, Mr. Speaker, and which I will be willing to share, that her condition was that the person, I was required to withdraw the extortion complaint I had launched against her and the friends at the Nanyuki. That is what happened, Mr. Speaker. I was framed. The idea was to embarrass me, to demean me.
Making reference to the affidavit, just who is the deponent of that affidavit?
He is a complainant, Mberu Onduor.
Beryl?
Mberu Onduor.
Oduor?
Yes.
Beryl Oduor?
Yes, it's called Mberu Akothi Owondo, sorry.
Mr. Speaker, can we get copies of that document?
Can you share it with
Yes.
And even as, I don't know, as he continues.
So next.
Yes.
Yeah, as he continues, maybe to just clarify clearly where the charges have been dropped within the meaning of Article 157, sub-article, I think, 8. Or there's simply an application to withdraw or to have them dropped.
Mr. Speaker, the application to withdraw this matter was done by the complainant herself. So an affidavit, and as you know, or you are aware, that the DPP must agree to the withdrawal, sent a letter to the DPP, attached an affidavit to the DPP, and the DPP went to court to seek concurrence from the court on whether the matter should be withdrawn or not. That happened, and Akoth Mberu testified before a magistrate. She was cross-examined, and the magistrate and nothing else other than to assent to a request to withdraw the matter. The ruling from the magistrate is attached to the affidavit of Mberu and Dora. I did not initiate. The only thing that was of a requirement from them was that I was required to withdraw the extortion complaint that I found with the DCI in Nanyuki. That's how the matter was withdrawn. It was not the DPP who decided to do it, but it was moved by the complainant to withdraw the matter.
And did you withdraw also your complaint then?
To date,
on extortion?
To date, Mr. Chairman, I have not. I have not withdrawn, but I can also tell this committee, I have fought so many cases and I don't think I have the energy. I want to frame my mind, given the opportunity, to work for this country. I must also let it go. I must forget the pain, the persecution that I've gone through. And I have left to the conscience of all my persecutors and gone to deal with them. Because there are many, as I will continue trying to explain, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, you also raised...
Speaker, thank you. I just wanted to ask what you just asked, whether he has withdrawn. But maybe in relation to that, have you been able to establish, other than the complainant in that case, because there are also men who are involved, whether these particular people who are involved were DCI officers? Because why I said I was privy to information, Honorable Speaker, is because I had the same sort of incident with the Honorable Linturi when criminals poisoned people in Kikuyu, and DCI Kinoti did exactly the same thing he did with this case, turned around the case, recalled the file from Kikuyu when we adduced evidence to the Kikuyu DCI offices that indeed the people who were involved in poisoning of people in Kikuyu were DCI officers. And I'm asking that because would you be aware whether the same the other men may have been DCI officers.
Mr. Speaker, probably I may want to pursue that once there is the overhaul of the DCI's office, the overhaul of the staff at the DCI offices.
Now, the question is very simple. Were DCI officers involved in what you are calling a frame-up? If they were, yes. If they were not, no.
Mr. Speaker, I may want to imagine that they must have been, because calling for a file for an offense that took place in Nanyuki, bringing it to Nairobi, assigning it to other officers, and then turning me to a victim when I was the complainant, then it cannot...
Turning into the villain, the
Yes.
accused, not the victim.
Sorry.
Yes.
Yeah, that's what happened, Mr. Speaker. And if I may proceed, because another
Mr. Speaker, even as it continues again,
yes,
maybe because now so many issues have been raised and the names have been dropped, is it possible for Honorable Linturi to just explain to us how the abduction took place? Very, very brief.
And going forward, Honorable Linturi, I did advise you, only answer questions as they are asked. You will be very safe that way.
Mr. Speaker, I think this happened a long time ago. And some things are not very good to remember, because they remind you of those bad memories. Probably when you suffer an abduction is when you may be able to really think, and why it's also even necessary to take people through counseling. It is not an easy thing, and especially when the hand of government agencies is involved. Mr. Speaker, let me answer the issue of the 530 million loan that he's talking about.
He alleged two things.
Yes.
You forged documents to get 530 million, then you forged other documents to get 100 million. So if you
Yes.
can answer those, it will help.
Mr. Speaker, I also invite you to a document that I will share with you, and judgment that was given by Justice Ongood Judge in petition number E068 of 2021. And I need to remind or to inform this committee, which thanks I also give to the Second Senate. I think it is the Second Senate of the Republic of Kenya, because one of the things that I was arrested for, the allegations I was being arrested for when we were to vote for the BBI, are these allegations that Wandai is raising. Mr. Speaker, the matter that Wandai has raised is subject to a High Court matter E138. There are several rulings on this particular issue by Justice Okwani. I will be sharing.
That is the 500 or the 100?
They are all combined.
They are combined?
Yeah, they are combined.
Oh.
They are combined, Mr. Speaker. And you remember when I was in my opening remarks, I wanted some clarity on the issue of sub judice, because they are before court. Certain rulings in particular, which I think will be important, on that particular area of the forgery, the judge has properly pronounced herself on this matter and have been exonerated. But the other issues relating to the net worth of this company and whatever it is are still before court. And
so only make reference to the matter that has been concluded by the court. The others remain contested between you and your accusers.
Yes.
Yes.
So, it is not true, Mr. Speaker, that I did or any forgeries. And in fact, this was also a situation where the DCI was ending the complainant, the person is referring to take away my investment in this particular company. And Mr. Speaker, when I got arrested, I went to court through a constitutional petition and to stop the prosecution, my prosecution on that matter, without the DCI and the DPP properly putting into context my complaint in this matter, because even in this case, Mr. Speaker, I was the complainant because my company had been taken away by fraudsters. And in the course of investigations and the DCI and other agents and found a way to deal with me, then I was also turned again to be the villain. Mr. Speaker, on the last page of this judgment, which I was going to share, on paragraph 119, because the DCI had completely refused to investigate my complaints in the wisdom of Justice H.I. Ngundu, and directed as follows. Having found that the second respondent did not fully act or investigate the petitioner's complaint launched with him, I direct him to act on the same and forward his findings to the first respondent within 19 days. During the 19 days, the first and second respondents shall not charge or arrest the petitioners. Save for the above, then I find no merit in this allegation. Mr. Speaker, I want to share, because this document, and because to that is to, I'm bringing this to demonstrate and to show that even when people read or questions are raised, Mr. Speaker, the criminal justice system was somehow not willing to listen to my complaints, and I am just waiting for the appropriate time. So I'll give this one.
Yes,
to share with the committee.
Chairman, I'm seated next to the nominee. I'm requesting that so that we don't go into a serious health crisis, tell him to breathe normal. He looks nervous. Tell him just to say, I'm hearing a lot of things here.
Honorable Linturi, are you nervous?
No, I am not. I am not, Mr. Speaker.
You are not nervous.
I'm not. How would I be nervous? These are my colleagues. We've been around together for a long time.
Can you, clerk, get the document and the reference, make copies and circulate? Go on, Linturi. You know we are almost halfway your time, and we are still skirting around two issues.
No, tujafika hapo. Okay.
Make progress, Honorable Linturi. Honorable, and I put it to you that you forged documents to obtain two loans, 500 million, 100 million. Your retort is that you didn't, and you have given a document to buttress that, right?
Yes, I have.
Go to the next issue.
I'm trying to get another ruling from Justice Okwani, where
on the same issue?
On the same issue.
Okay.
Because this was a constitutional petition that stopped my arrest, and the finding of the judge was DCI did not investigate this matter. The other one is where the judge has clearly pronounced herself on on the issues of the forgeries that he's alleging, he's talking about.
So did the court say you forged or you didn't?
I did not.
Okay.
Yes.
Just give the ruling. Just give the documents. The clerks will run through and assist the members so that we make progress.
Can I ask?
Point of information, Honourable Speaker.
Yes.
Yes, you've got 90 minutes. You've spent 40 minutes explaining all sorts of cases. Just say, I was not charged on this one. This is the decision, and here is the judgment, and then we'll be able to look at it when we retreat. And also, Honourable, through the Speaker, if he's guilty of anything, it will catch up with him even if he's minister. So I think for now, let him explain to us. Let's focus on, I want you to tell me what you're going to do as Minister of Agriculture. I want to know if you're qualified to be Minister of Agriculture. I want to know that you're going to transform the agriculture industry in Kenya. That's more urgent. The other items are before other competent institutions.
Chairman.
Sure.
Chairman.
Yes.
Vicaria. I totally agree with Deputy Speaker and your Vice Chair of this committee. If we continue like this, and as you had alluded to that when you started speaking, is that almost half the time is gone. And what we really want is to know, much as this is part of what we are supposed to be looking into through this committee, but I think it is also important that we also consider on other matters, as Sholei has indicated, so that we can be able to see the suitability of the candidate, or mostly on matters to do with agriculture. As I also agree that what is going on is also part of what we are. But at least, as she says, this is the case, this was the judgment, pass it, without stories, again, because it's going to really give us...
Ferdinand?
Thank
you. Linturi is a friend of mine, I want to declare that, but given that Chair, and he has confessed himself publicly that he has over 35 cases and is tired of these cases. We are looking for somebody who is free, and that means that, Linturi, you may not have the time and the energy, but they'll keep on coming up to do what we want you to do. Tell us how you're going to, with the 35 cases, it's too much. And you have said yourself, you want to get rid of this. So can you
Order, honourable members, I don't want it to be a free-for-all. Because we have had a very good sequential process of interrogating nominees. Honourable Linturi, what you need to do, this is not a trial court. We are not going to establish whether you attempted to rape or not, whether it has been withdrawn or not, whether you are framed or not. The question was put to you by the Honourable Wandai on the rape charges. You have given us documents of withdrawal. This committee will not inquire into exactly what happened. We have a court document. He asked you if you forged documents to secure 2 loans. You have said you didn't. And you have given us documents. Move on to other questions that were asked of you so that we can make progress.
To the university issue, then we can...
Then you asked about the university, and you are supposed to have uttered a degree from India. You have put only 1 degree from the University of Nairobi. And he alleged that you had running arguments with the same university about the same degree. Yeah, if you can answer that, then we can move on to other questions that the Deputy Speaker asked you, and give other members an opportunity also to...
Speaker, I didn't want to disrupt the proceedings, but
yes.
I want to pick from where you said, let us advise our colleague, Honourable Linturi is our colleague, that we are not in court, Honourable Speaker, where you can produce all those details and volumes. Maybe it's gotten used to that 35 cases and court. This is just a vetting process. Just bullet, and we proceed.
To the extent that they touch on his integrity, he is at liberty and is obliged to furnish us with documentation that you look at. But as to his innocence or otherwise, there's another agency that can deal with that. We can make inferences on these issues at the end, but we have no capacity to say whether he's guilty of this or not.
Mr. Speaker.
Yes, Dawood.
If you allow me to comment, I think we are probably taking the nominee a little too far. If we ask him a question, he replies, let him give us those documents after the sitting, give it to the clerks. But in a matter of 35 cases, Honorable Wanyonyi is talking about, that is neither here, neither there. He just mentioned it.
It is actually the nominee himself who has walked too far.
He has just said that.
Yes,
That is an
and I had told him that to restrict your answers to the questions as they are being asked. And you'll see we'll move very smoothly. So if you finished with Honorable, and I talk about the degrees, come to Honorable Sholei, then I give another batch of colleagues to raise issues. We have about 20 of us, each one itching to ask you something. You know, agriculture is the bedrock of every lively activity of every individual in this country. Those who don't farm still eat what farmers farm.
Sure. Can I interject?
Mukami.
I was wondering, because we already have 1 degree and we can see it here, and we have other important matters. We can allow to tackle the other questions, and then he'll give that other document later.
No, the question was asked, he has to answer it.
Yes.
Yes.
Mr. Speaker, let me answer this question. Mr. Speaker, I'll give you a document which you'll be able to peruse as asked. And the issue that was an issue with the University of Nairobi. And when my studies were discontinued, were that I was doing my Masters of Law. It is not the undergraduate course I was doing. And I had been admitted to pursue a Masters of Law. And Mr. Speaker, I was registered that time.
Let me make it very easy for you,
yes,
Honorable Linturi.
Yes.
Do you have any dispute with the University of Nairobi that is alive over your LLB degree?
None, Mr. Speaker.
That is it. Number 2, have you ever uttered anywhere a degree from India?
No, Mr.
Do you have a degree from India?
And Mr. Speaker, yes. And the documents are here to support that. This matter has been canvassed in court in 2 cases, in 3 cases actually, in 2017. There are own documents here. And India. I will not be able to mention on that because the same matter again has been raised. The hearing for this case is on 4th of November.
Issues around your Indian degree.
Yes.
Hold on. Issues around your Indian degree are in court.
Yes.
Is that the reason why you did not attach that disputed Indian degree?
That is not really, Mr. Speaker. It's also because the documents that I attached are the documents I'm able to access. One of the issues where it is...
That's exactly what I'm asking you. That you attached the Kenyan degree from the University of Nairobi because it has no issues.
It doesn't have issues.
The matter rests there. Answer other questions.
Speaker, how does it rest, really? When he has said that he has got an Indian degree, the certificate must be with him. The degree certificate must be with him somewhere.
He says,
yes,
if I got him right, he has an Indian degree. It has issues around it. The issues are in court. They are active and therefore sub judice. And we are not here to inquire into his degrees. In any case, the possession of a degree is not a requirement for him to be a minister. But if he has a disputed degree and the degree is found invalid, it goes down to his integrity. Yes.
Yes.
That's the only issue that is available to you to pursue.
That's what I'm pursuing, actually. The issue of integrity.
Question, a very clear question, and I want a very clear answer
Yes.
so that we make progress.
Yes. The issue is, we wanted the Honorable Linturi to confirm if he ever held a degree from an Indian university. He has said yes. And I'm asking, can we see a copy of that degree certificate? I am being told we can't see it because the matter is in court. That's what I'm finding very difficult, yes.
Mr. Speaker, you know, I also explained the circumstances in which I find myself and why even kids are not there. There is also a court order here that bars me from accessing my own house, where all documents...
Mr. Speaker, I give up.
Yeah, it is here. That's why it's in many cases, Mr. Speaker. And if I may read, restraining the respondent
Hold
from...
on, let him respond. Honorable Linturi.
So, Mr. Speaker, even as I sit here, there are documents, my titles, my logbooks, my everything I can't access because there is a bar.
Honorable Linturi.
Yeah.
There is an article written by Lord Denning called "The Witness Who Talked Too Much."
Yeah.
If you have an Indian degree, say yes. If you don't have it here, say you don't. The reason you don't have it, you are barred from accessing your